All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. I am Krista Inochovsky, the host of Ask Me Anything by JVology, and I'm really excited. We're going to have a great show today. It is Monday, the day that we get to jump on in and ask questions. An amazing guest that we have, and Deirdre Sirianni has just entered the broadcast studio. I'll be pulling her up in just a minute. Today's going to be a fantastic topic. One of my favorites. It's part of the work that I do. It's all about finding your purpose and who you are and how you're aligned. And now is a better time than ever to dive into these questions. So I'm going to bring on Deirdre. Oh, there she is.
Hello.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm so great. How are you doing?
Doing really, really well. Thank you. So we've had a great opportunity to chat already, and we're just in San Diego together a few weeks ago before all of this change happened in the world, and got to
right before it all happened.
Yes, right before. I kind of say, if you'd known before, you would have done it bigger and better. But I think we kind of did it is amazing and had a fantastic time. Regardless, right? We're living in the present and living full out completely. And so Deirdre and I know each other because we're both part of JVology, hence the show. Deirdre's a member and was at the summit, and man, we had a really great time. You know what I haven't asked you before is how did you get connected with JVology and Jay Facette?
Well, I was so I'm connected with Karen McGregor, and I spoke at one of her events, Influence 2020, and he was also a speaker. So I knew a little bit about him, and then asked some more questions, watched his presentation, and I was like, I need to sign up for this. Just sounds like a great community, and it really is. So it was just quick like that.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. When you have someone that you already really trust and you respect their opinion, what they're doing, who they're connected with, it just becomes so much easier to dive in. And it sounds like you have that relationship with Karen, who is an amazing person as well. And so that's really great to hear. All right, before we dive into talking about you and seeing what kind of questions are out there on this topic, I just wanted to take a quick minute to all of you who are watching and let you know if you're viewing this from another place that it's shared, because we are really cool about sharing this in different groups on StreamYard, head over to Jay's main page or mine. And when you click it and open that full video, then when you hit the comments, we're going to be able to see your comments right here, and I can post them up right here. Ready to hear and ready to listen. Thanks, Kathy. So we'll be definitely getting some questions for you to help us just direct our conversation around what's important to everybody out there. And before we really get rocking and rolling, I'm going to show our short JVology intro. There we go. So the neat thing, Deirdre and I are both participating, well, actually in a couple of different levels of things here at JVology, but one of them is a personal development course called the 12 Pillars of Creation Acceleration. And coincidentally, although there are no coincidences, right? Everything aligns and synergistically comes together at just the right time, just the right place. The pillar that we're covering this week is about purpose and gifts, which is one of your main topics. So I just want to kind of open it up and get your insight on purpose, what that means to you, and even why it's so important to you to share that with others.
Thank you. Oh, purpose is like everything, right? It's the juice of life. It's what brings us alive. And I really feel called to share on purpose because when we're not in our purpose, it's very difficult to show up as the best version of ourselves in our relationships, in our life, in our career. It's just we block ourselves and we're not in that flow of who we really are. So To me, purpose is the deepest essence of who we are, fully expressed into the world in all areas without any limitations of how we think we should be. And that's really our infinite self where we can co-create anything that we want. And so I get really excited about purpose because for a long time in my life, I was not fully living in my purpose. And it caused a lot of anxiety. It caused different symptoms of being out of alignment. And I was 90% aligned with what I'm here to do, but there was a 10% that I wasn't fully stepping into my full soul's purpose. And when we're not in our
kind of interject at that point, I think that I find in doing this work and doing it for myself as well, that, well, 10% is pretty darn, you're close, right? That's already closer than most. But at the same time, you're like, how do we direct that and release the fear? Like, let's talk about what stands in the way. What stands
totally.
in the way? There's like this sense of where we should be going, and yet so often we head in other directions.
Well, I believe that everything is bringing us exactly where we need to go anyway. So sometimes we take the long road, we take all the, the detours and we can dabble in different things, or we can really tune in and just listen. I think that one of the things that definitely blocks us from stepping into our full alignment of purpose is not being super connected with our intuition.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because our intuition's always telling us, but if we're not trained to listen to our intuition, we may downplay and be like, oh, I don't really know if I should do this, or we may take other actions that are not aligned with who we really are and how we want to show up. So intuition is big, and also the people that we surround ourselves with. That's one of the reasons why I love JVology and what we're doing is because we're in a community of people who we're constantly lifting each other up and supporting each other with our businesses, our missions, and what we're here to do. And the truth is, when you're with people who aren't necessarily pushing you to go to that next level or don't understand your purpose and don't see that inside of you, it's difficult to sustain your goals and to push through that extra 10%.
Yeah, that you've hit on a couple of different points that are all brilliant that I want to touch back on. And one is who you surround yourself with makes an incredible difference.
Yes.
When you can recognize and see if people are lifting you up or bringing you down, that's powerful. You're able to see that you're just not, when you're not getting the encouragement that you need, you're not getting the support, or the people around you are allowing their fears to really inhibit where you're looking to go, and to step away from that and recognize that that's not a place to be. And then you also mentioned, when you do find that great group of people that I too have found in the JVology community, not only there's like this energy and essence of like-mindedness, of the momentum of pulling each other forward, and there's also this truth of being able to call each other out and go, whoa, what's happening? There's a greatness in you that I'm seeing, and I feel like you're not stepping into. And to have people who care about you enough to be able to say that and say it in a powerful way is massive in your life.
Absolutely. It's really everything, right? That was a big shifting point for me, was when I started to surround myself with more people in the community that got me and were aligned with where I was going. It made it a lot safer. It made it a lot less scary to step into my gifts. So that's a huge piece around purpose. Absolutely. Community.
That's really great. All right. So we're talking about community. What are some other elements that kind of come up when you're talking about purpose?
Okay, so this is a good one. We just did a challenge that I'm thinking of, our imaginary rules. So I like to call imaginary rules that we've made up sometime in our lifetime that says, when I do this, then I can have this, or if this, then that. So there's all of these rules that we have create in our life and, that are around us. Maybe those are other people's belief systems in our community. Maybe they're our own. And it's like, I can finally step into my purpose once I've achieved X, Y, Z, because then I'll be worthy of it, or I've put in the hard work and I've worn that badge of honor of not doing the work that I love. So we have all of these interesting belief systems that get in the way of us stepping into our purpose because they're rules that we've been living by. And until we can identify them and change them, it's very difficult to even know that we have them.
That's incredibly true. We have to identify them and see them first before we can recognize that it's not our truth, but it's a rule that we're abiding by, something we've been taught. And I use the word programming, because when we're taught something so young, it's just ingrained in us. Mm-hmm. And to us, it's truth.
Right.
That's what's happening, whether it's through religion or culture or your particular family, that those beliefs are held so true. We don't even recognize that there's another way. Mm-hmm. So until you can open up and expand to see other ways, you don't even know that what you're doing has another option.
Absolutely. And this is interesting too, because our belief systems, our imaginary rules, our programming, our habits, the way we show up every single day, our behaviors, that's our personality, right? Mm-hmm. So we get so attached to our personality of who we are and what makes us who we are, that sometimes it can be very difficult to step away from that and tap into our true essence of ourself, which is our soul, which is you can do, be, create anything that you want, but you have to let go and identify parts of your personality that are no longer serving you. And so I love that you just shared that, because everything's so connected and we are complicated and we're also very simple at the same time, right?
Yeah, and we overcomplicate things that should be simple.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah. To me, that's a great reason to be coached, to be a coach, to have someone close in your life that's able to show you those things, because we can make things so incredibly complicated and go round and round when the answer's right there. Like,
always.
It's always right there. Mm-hmm. And working with someone like you, it's not that you're out finding some completely different, I found your purpose out in the forest. You know that you're meant to do like something completely different. Like, it's never that.
Yeah.
It's helping the individual themselves uncover the purpose that's been there all along. And there's always a trail and a path and a story and a history that shows this thread of who you're meant and called to be. And maybe there's just a whole bunch of reasons or stories where we ignored it and tried other things. But it's always, you mentioned, the path may be straight or it may be long and windy, but we're going to end up where we need to be. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a matter of whether we want to listen to self and source to get there smoother or not.
Or take the path of most resistance. I've done that before. It's only fun for so long.
So many great lessons I learned in that really hard path.
Totally. I remember this time I was co-facilitating a corporate retreat with my past business. I used to own a wellness company, and I also did some coaching and personal development in that space. And I remember this man came up to me. He was another facilitator, and he said, you know, what you're doing isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you're supposed to be doing this. And I wasn't, my worthiness, I didn't feel worthy of stepping into my gifts. I didn't think I was old enough. I didn't think I had enough education behind me for the specific role. And so I had all of these belief systems that he saw in me. And so every day, all of our friends and family, they're constantly planting seeds. The question is, are we actually listening?
That's so true. Mm-hmm. That's so true. Do you have a pivotal moment that you want to or willing to share about where things came into alignment for you?
Yeah. Oh, this is so good. So I feel like I'm constantly shifting more and more into alignment, because I believe our purpose doesn't necessarily change, but the vehicle in which we deliver it changes.
I love that. I love that.
because we can get so attached to how things look from the outside looking in, and that's where we can be like, oh, but I need to figure it all out. It's like, no, you just have to show up on purpose. So for me, it was a series of symptoms and my soul speaking to me, telling me to wake up and listen. And I've been very stubborn in my life, and I didn't listen. I'm like, no, this is the way things are. I was really great at my past career with what I did, but I had this voice inside of me that kept saying every time I'd reach a goal, is this it? That feeling of looking around and really wondering, like, is this what success is supposed to feel like? Is this what love is supposed to feel like? Really questioning a lot of decisions that I made in my life. And the universe kept speaking through my body, and I was getting different symptoms and manifestations of dis-ease until one day I had this voice inside of me, my soul, tell me that I was going to, this is a little dramatic, but die from cancer if I didn't change my life, and I would be getting sick in the next year. And I believed it because it was so strong, and I was having all of these other manifestations of anxiety all the time, not being able to sleep, stomach pain, autoimmune disease, depression, all of these things.
Wow.
From the outside looking in, I looked like I had it together. I looked like the happiest person everyone knew. So in that moment, I knew I had a choice to make. Do I continue on the path that I was on that didn't feel fully aligned, even though it looked like it, or do I do something different? And that's when I started working with shamans, studying with them, and really going down the path of least resistance, which is like my space of interest, which are the things that light me up. And that's where everything started to unravel from there. But it was from the wake-up calls, and it was my body speaking to me.
What do you think kept you in that space, or that one step before that, for maybe longer than you should have? Was it because you were good at your job, and was it fulfilling something? Was it because you were educated in it? Like what kind of held you there, even though your body was starting to tell you that you should be doing something else?
Good question. It was my whole life actually that wasn't fully aligned. It was the 10% of settling. And so I think that I was there for longer than maybe I could have been because I was getting a lot of external validation. I was sponsored by big companies. I had my own TV show. I had a lot of opportunities that were really easy for me. And so it was just like, oh, this is what I should be doing. It's easy and I'm great at it, you know? So it was feeding my ego, but it wasn't aligned. And then also the people that I surrounded myself with didn't understand who I was on a core level. And so there's a disconnect there. I didn't have the right people. I didn't have the right support.
I can relate to that as well. And that's an uncomfortable space to be, because it just kind of makes you question, what am I really doing? Does anybody get me? Is this crazy? Like, who follows their passion? Like, who does that? Like, is that really something that can be done? And when you don't have that right structure around you, it can be challenging. And when you start to seek it, the right people start to show up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm getting a question from Maria. Hi, Maria. She said, how do you know that it wasn't in line? Like, how do you feel that you were out of alignment?
That's a great question. Well, my body was speaking to me. So one of the things that I've been studying over the past decade is how our soul communicates to us. So symptoms of dis-ease in the body, I believe, and from my background, has to do with not listening to our soul. So if you have regular anxiety, if you have other symptoms that keep coming up, it's because I believe we're not listening to our soul and the message. So once we hear the message of the soul and we honor it, the symptom goes away most of the time. So symptoms in the body, that voice inside of me that was like, I don't feel like I'm fully showing up. I was playing at like maybe 10% of my capacity. And at the end of the day, it was like, I felt good because I was supporting people, but I didn't feel that sense of like fulfillment, like that deep sense of, wow, like I'm excited to do this every day. There was a bit of a disconnect. It's difficult to explain, but the symptoms and then that voice that kept coming up that was asking, is this it?
Oh yeah. Thank you for saying that. And having the awareness in the broad picture enough to say, all right, my body's telling me something. I'm not just only going to go, oh, I'm sick. Let me go to the doctor. Let them be fixed. My body's just my body. But to go, oh no, my body is reacting to this whole bigger picture. I'm one being, and my energy, my focus, something's not there, and let me heal everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very enlightened stand that you took for yourself. So I love that.
Mm-hmm. And usually with these, when we have these symptoms come up, it's very easy. A default setting is to go, oh, well, this runs in my family. My parents had it. But what also runs in our family is behaviors, is sometimes shutting our voice down. It's not listening to our intuition, not fully expressing ourselves. So we have to look at that too. And that's where I really had to dive inwards. And that was a game changer for me.
So you've mentioned listening to your intuition. What does that look like, or how can someone begin to listen more if they're really not actively aware of tuning into their intuition?
Beautiful. So I have a bunch of tools that I teach people in order just to check into muscle testing too, because your body will respond based on whether something's a yes or a no. Mm-hmm. And underneath of that, which is even deeper, is trauma. So when we have unhealed trauma, we often don't trust our intuition, especially if we've been like physically violated by abuse or something along the lines of that. Because what happens when we experience a trauma, we have an image, a thought, a body sensation, and an emotion that becomes frozen in time because we haven't been able to complete the cycle. So naturally, our mind, we're constantly looking for these triggers, the image, the thought, the body sensation, the emotion, and the energetics of it. And because of those triggers, we can take actions against our true nature rather than knowing what our aligned space is being. So with the work that I'm really passionate about doing is actually going back to some of those traumas and completing them, because once that happens, you can actually feel what's true. Because fear can come up, these red flags can come up that aren't actually related to what's going on. It's a trigger from the past. So until we do that underlying work and understand it, it's difficult for me to just say, this is how you trust your intuition, because things can come up and you may not actually be operating in this reality, but a past reality that's coming forward trying to complete itself.
I hope that noise isn't carrying, but as you know, we're all home. Everybody else.
This is true. But so there's the trauma, which I think is a really important piece that I like to look at with the people that I work with, because that's a clearing point. Also, of course, meditation, being out in nature, being by yourself to feel what you feel is a great tool as well. And I believe going to the trauma and working through that is the most powerful for understanding what your body's really trying to tell you. Because when we have trauma, we step outside of ourselves and we can lose ourselves, self-sabotage, and go to numbing mechanisms in order to avoid. And then it's difficult to trust our intuition.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because when you use numbing, I like that word, sounds very accurate, to manage through the trauma as a survival mechanism. But now you've also numbed and shut off other sensitivities that we have, including our knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I work with teens, and one of the things I tell them, just on the most simple level, is you have to spend time by yourself if you're ever going to get to know yourself and know what your intuition sounds like. You can't always be fed by outside sources or what's on the end of your phone or the TV or from other people, but to just sit and be with yourself. Writing, music, meditation, those sort of things. It's an important reminder for all of us. And I think that's one of the blessings that we have in this this current situation that we're all in, of being home, is it's given us a time to slow down and to be quieter and less busy, should we choose to step into that space, and look inward. So with that thought, I'll kind of throw this question to you. As we are sheltering in place, and I know that you've spent some time and self-quarantine, correct? As you've been traveling, and hopefully you're not there now, right? Yeah, you have some family back around you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank goodness. But with this new environment that we're in for now, how can we take advantage of this time of being less busy and look at what is our purpose? How can we grow from this? You're suggesting to your clients during this time?
Beautiful. So number one is, first of all, this is such a beautiful time to dive inwards. It really, really is. And really, I believe on a universal scale, that's why we're all at home, is to go inwards, because we have been so outside of ourselves. And when we're outside of ourselves, we're disconnected from what's really going on. So meditating, taking time out in nature, discovering what your soul's purpose is. If you found that certain things aren't working in your life and you feel like you're settling, or you don't like the way that you're showing up, or the dynamic of your relationship, a lot of people right now are questioning their entire life because we're being faced to really look at it, right? And that's a beautiful space to be in. So I believe the best time to discover your soul's purpose is now, is to do that internal work and find the right guides and support to help you get there, so that after this is all done, once this has been moving forward, that you can step forward powerfully. Because now more than ever, it's important to be in our purpose, because jobs are changing, the world is changing, and it really has to do with you being in your innate gifts. So finding those people to support you is really everything right now. And I'm enrolled in many courses and programs, and I'm supporting a lot of people in my community and doing programs. But I think it's important for us all to really ask ourselves, what is it that I need? What am I craving? And then step into that and commit to something.
Oh, I like that. Commit to something.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, one of the examples is the 12-pillar course that we're both doing. And I was so excited that Jade has brought this course back up for this time. It's been kind of archived for a while. And it was specifically as we, as a team, were reacting to what was going on in the world. What came to him is like, I can serve people best by offering this 12-pillar class, where bit by bit, we're really able to help dive in and look at a deep level of who we are and who we want to be, and then what we're going to create. It's actually called the 12 Pillars of Creation Acceleration. And there is no creation when we are in a low, negative, depleted state. We have to be in an elevated state to create. That's my belief. And while I am always encouraging people to help them be able to manage their own state and get to that more elevated state for creating the life that you want, the business that you want, all of these things. And now is such a great time to do that and look inward and decide, who are we going to be? What are we going to do when the dust settles on this and we move into a new reality, right? There's no going back. We'll all be stepping into something new. And what is that going to mean to you? Are you taking this time seriously to step into that fullest expression of you? Do you have things that you personally enjoy doing as far as journaling, meditation, talking? Are there modalities and activities that you recommend?
Ooh, absolutely. I love learning. I love reading. I love writing. And I love creating. I love just being in a space of service for my community. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is some of the programs that I have launching to support my community to really discover what their purpose is and then fulfill it. And so my superpower, and one of the things that I appreciate most about teachers and leaders and guides is it's the quality of the questions that you're asked. Because the questions allow us to go deeper to understand what we're really here to do, what we're really here to create. And then it gives us that momentum, that push, and that support to get there. So I have a 5-day challenge that's about discovering your soul's purpose, which just ended, and we're going to have a new one coming up soon. And that's about asking yourself those deeper questions. And yes, I took everyone through it, but I also, I did all of the questions myself just to like check back in. I'm like, yeah, I'm on purpose. Oh, I can dial up a little bit here. So finding courses, programs, challenges to enroll yourself in and try something different and get a new perspective to ask yourself those deeper questions. That's what I love. And I love music. I love meditating. I love dance. Like anything that gets you in your body and gets you more connected is definitely the place to be.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, other than looking up your name, Deirdre, on Facebook, do you have a group where you're going to be redoing that? We're going to do that challenge again?
Yes, it's called the Light Circle Collective. The Light Circle Collective. And the next one is going to be launching in, I think we're going to be doing another one maybe the week after next. But yeah, we'll be doing different challenges in there, and then we'll be doing the challenge every 4 to 8 weeks, some sort of challenge to support the community on diving deeper in a specific area of life. And right now we're working on purpose, which I think is really important.
It is. So I just put that in the comments, and it's also on the screen, the Light Circle Collective Facebook group. So if you're watching this, go ahead and join that so you can follow more of what Deirdre is doing, and then get invited and step into that 5-day circle, 5-day circle, 5-day challenge.
5-day challenge. Wonderful.
What type of activities? Can you give us like a little preview on what you're doing during the challenge?
Yeah. So one of the activities that you need to do is you need to reach out to 10 people who know you well and ask them, what are my superpowers? What are my superpowers? And this is really fun because, you know, you might have ideas of what your superpowers are, and you might be like, this is what I'm good at. And then you reach out to 10 or 20 people that know you well, and then they're saying things consistently that you've never even thought of. So it's a really good opportunity to not only ask yourself those questions, but also get your community involved to see where people see you shine and how you can really, you know, come back to the things that you are great at. Because what our superpowers are, we oftentimes discount them because they come so natural to us, right?
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. And yeah, to hear it from somebody else is really, really powerful, because I mean, you're right. It's come so natural to us. We don't see it or know that it makes us special, or that it can actually help somebody else.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing. Our purpose is, our superpowers are usually the things that we downplay the most, but people, you know, usually probably tell us all the time, or talk to their friends and like, oh, this person's really bubbly, or asks really great questions, or does this. But us, we're just like, oh, it's who I am. So it's a great reminder of who you are and getting your community involved. And then we also have prizes and contests every day, and getting people to share. And that's really a beautiful thing about building that community, and people seeing that mirror of what other people are experiencing, as well as what's going on the inside.
Yeah. Deirdre, do you think that someone needs to find their purpose in relationship to their business? What if they don't have their own business, or maybe they're a full-time mom or dad and their career is not really an important thing to them? Is it still important to find your purpose? What does that look like unrelated to work?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, it's unrelated to work. It doesn't have to be something that you do for work, but it's like, are you living in your gifts? Are you fully expressing yourself? Are you honoring those parts of yourself? And this comes down to a question that I've got about what is spirituality. And so spirituality is about being in alignment with your spirit, which is your soul, which is honoring your gifts, which is honoring your magic, everything you bring into the world, and also honoring everyone else's. So having these conversations and doing a challenge like this, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is that you do, is going to allow you to honor your spirit at a deeper level, and also have deeper conversations with the people who are in your world, so you guys can create a container and a space to be who you really are, without this idea that you can't because XYZ. And I think that's really powerful to step into as well.
It is. I mean, with working with others, do they experience that it's scary to let go of these past ways of being or these past beliefs? Or is it ever scary to step into what you want to do, where they're kind of afraid of what others might think, or afraid of, well, does that mean I have to leave this job to start something different? Like, tell me, let's talk a little bit about how fear steps in, and that letting go process, right? We can't just keep everything and then move into something new. We've got to let go of stuff to step into something.
Yes. Beautiful. So universal law, when we attach to one thing, let's say it's the 70% of what we truly want in our life, whether it's a relationship, a career, or anywhere else in our life, we energetically are giving off the frequency that this is what we want. The 70% is what we want, because the universe doesn't know yes or no or any of that. They just know where we put our attention, it continues to grow. We continue to attract that 70%. So 100%, until you're ready to let go of the 70% and be in the space of in between, which is surrender, which is trust, which is being open, which is allowing what's supposed to come and unravel, then the 100% of what you want will come. But if we're clinging to the old, we're going to continue to attract the old. So going a little bit deeper here just for a second is that when we are in the space of in between and we can trust and there's a container for that, we don't have to have it all figured out, because we know that if it's not what we've let go of, it's something better, always, 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 always. But when we cling to the old, we continue to attract the old. And yes, and there is a space of in between where you can do two things. But the truth is, when you know what your purpose is, and why cling to something that isn't it when you know what is it?
I love all that you just said, and I've experienced it. I tried it the other way. Like, I'm gonna line it all up like little stepping stones, and then I'm gonna just tiptoe my way over to the life that I know that I should be living, that I don't have now.
Right.
And I tried, and I tried, and I tried it this way and that way, and until God made it perfectly clear to me that you have to jump. There has to be this moment of leaping. You have to be in midair going, I've let go. My only other option is to move forward. And in that space, although it can be really stinking scary, there's this like freedom.
Yes.
This like, it's like almost the only way to really know who you are.
Yes.
That's it. There we go. I mean, it's so clear in my head because I've done it and I've been there, and I have these like visuals of jumping, and I had all these illustrations I would go to. I'd be like, that's where I am. I am like, legs jumping, and
where I go.
That's it. And it was the only way to do it. And I tried the safe way. Didn't happen.
There is no safe way, really. If you think about it, the safe way is actually unsafe, because a part of you dies every day that you're not living in your purpose, or you don't know who you are.
Write that down, everybody. Say that again. A little bit.
I said there is no safe way, because a part of you dies every day when you're not living in your purpose. And that's what was happening to me. I was numbing parts of myself. I was saying it's okay to be this way in this environment, but not that. Or, I have this opinion about something that's important. I'm going to shove it down. And so really, in the space of in between, you need to have the right people in your court, 100%. Otherwise, you're going to be in the space of expansion, contraction, which is one of the layers of the consciousness scale that I've created on turning your light on waking up to the truth of who you are and who you're meant to be. And so there's the light off, which is you have fear, depression, you're in anxiety, you're not taking any moves in your life, you're stuck, you're stagnant, and you really just don't know how to do what it is that you feel that you need to do. And the thought of it is overwhelming. And then the next level is your light is flickering. So sometimes you're out there and you're in your truth, you're feeling like really expansive. And then other times you're contractive and it's like you're back where the light's off. So I like to think of being in a forest with absolutely no light, and you have no flashlight. Of course, you're going to be against the tree, being scared of all the noises and the things that you hear and not take any actions. And then if your light's on and off, sometimes you're going to move forward and sometimes you're going to not. And then there's the lights on, it's on fully. But but it's in all directions. So do I go this way? Do I go this way? Do I go this way? Where do I go? And this is where people have woken up and they have all this creative energy and flow, but they're in all these different directions. They're scattered, they're burnt out, but they have a lot of creative energy. They're probably not charging their worth. They're probably not valuing their own path. So they go in all these different directions with their energy. And then there's the being radically aligned with your light turned on, knowing your path, not paying attention to what's around you, knowing it, knowing that everything you do impacts it, but every next best step is in front of you and you never question your intuition and your inner knowing of what you're here to do and what you're here to create. And so that's the consciousness down. There's other pieces to it, but essentially that's it in a nutshell.
That makes so much sense to me. And that visual that you gave of when you turn the lights on, but the lights are on everywhere and you don't know which way to go.
Yeah.
Because,
right?
Yeah, there's so many options. And what happens, and I was just having a conversation with a mutual friend in our community the other day about this, is because she's so talented, so smart, so much experience and so many different levels. It's like, well, I could do this and I could do that and I could do this. And we start going back to this life that we're trying to leave behind, but we're connected to how good we are at it. Like I have education in that and I have years of experience in that. And all of a sudden, all these options, and it's a different mindset to go, no, I'm honing it in on the path of who I'm called to be and what my purpose is. I just got to let go of these other things, which is, you'll always tap into your experience, but it can be a little scary to go, oh, you mean I'm not going to use that degree that I got specifically to narrow it in?
Absolutely. And this is very much the logical mind, right? But the truth is when we're fully living in our soul's purpose, when our light is on, when we're really committed to showing up for our purpose, one of the things I go back to in my program with people is really about teaching them how to turn off the extra feelers. Because the truth is, if you're impact driven, if you want to make a change in the world, chances are you are tapped into all the energetic noise and you're being easily influenced by the world around you, even though your light's on, you have energy, you know what your purpose kind of is, or you do know what it is, you're just not fully committing to it. It's about teaching them the ninja skills of turning off their extra feelers so that they're not getting caught up in the muck, and then quieting the noise in their reality and realigning them with their values, what they want to be known for, and all those deeper questions, and then creating that container for them to basically run forward rather than running in 5 or 10 different directions, you know? So it also has to do with our energetic capacity.
I love that. And what you're saying shows that it's a process and it's most successful when guided by someone.
Absolutely.
And there may be just the perfect person for you out there watching to guide you through those steps and those processes my Canadians processes and what that looks like for you. And it is step by step. It's letting go. It's aligning. It's not, write a little page journal of what your purpose is and go for it. Right.
That's the first step. That's the first step, right? And then there's the actual container for it. Yes.
Yes. So I do want to share with everyone. We've got, make sure you go and check out Deirdre's Facebook group. It is the Light Circle Collective that is down below, and connect with her there. And for those of you who are not already a part of the JVology community, this is the link to that. If you are already or in the process of or looking to focus even more on aligning your purpose with your business and how you show up in the world, JVology is a community of entrepreneurs and thought leaders, speakers, authors, people, products and programs that are there and aligned and always looking to self-improve. So if that sounds and speaks to you, join us there, and we'd love to see you. We're actually starting our own 5-day challenge. It starts tomorrow, so now's a perfect time to jump in. It is a 5 JV partners in 5 days. So that is a really incredible way, step by step, to show you how to be in community with other professionals and building relationships so that you can grow your message through other great people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's all about. Would love to have you there in JVology Facebook group. And just to throw one last opening to you before we wrap things up, Deirdre, what have we not mentioned that we should?
Around purpose or just in general?
In general, whatever. I always want to leave the opportunity for you to throw in anything that wasn't said that could be or should be, or an invitation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, one of the questions that I really love is, the question is not whether or not you are here to do great things. The question is, are you ready to wake up to the truth of who you are and who you're meant to be? Because our true self, our true identity is infinite. We can do, be, create anything that we want. And it's about having that courage to step forward. The invitation that I have for you today is on a program that I have coming up that starts at the beginning of May, and it's called the Turn Your Light On 12-week program. And it's all about awakening to your true self. It's about dissolving, quieting the noise in your life. It's about aligning yourself with your intuition, doing that internal work to reprogram stories, understand trauma, to move through it, and dissolve any physical, mental, emotional, and energetic barriers that are preventing you from showing up powerfully for your message, for your work in the world. And I'm super excited to be offering that. So I recommend checking that out as well. I'm sure we can leave a link here at some point. And it's going to be a really powerful group of people and a really powerful 12 weeks of transformation, alignment. And if your light's off, it's a good program. If your light's flickering on off, you're in the expansion, the contraction, it's a great program for stabilizing yourself, your confidence, and all of that. Mm-hmm. If your light's on, it's going to be good for quieting the noise, energetically moving forward. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, you're going to be in a space of just like, let's do it. Let's put this message, this thing into the world. And yeah, I'd love to serve your community. So thanks so much for having me, Krista.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And we'll drop the link in afterwards, but I do have it in the comments. Turn your light on, reach out to Deirdre and join, play.
Come play.
And discover your purpose. Turn your light on. All of the above.
All the
things. Precious, we are going to, I'm not that talented at typing and talking at the same time in this format. So as soon as we hit in, Deirdre, you can get in and add some links there for us. Certainly appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who's watching. If you're watching the replay, we'll be back, or I'll be back next Monday with a new guest on Ask Me Anything Live by JVology. So it's been a pleasure to, thanks, Precious. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you more and that guidance, and just get lit up and on fire to step into your purpose, everyone. Now is the time, if ever there was one, to do that. So have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay well, stay home, stay away from everyone.
Yeah, stay far away from everyone.
That's right. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, Deirdre.